Let's move into the main service. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 9 through 16 is what we're looking at. Proverbs. These are wisdom. They call it wisdom literature. It's not an earthly wisdom, it's a godly wisdom. It's teaching us about the wisdom of God. Yes, there's an earthly wisdom, but it's only limited. It's the wisdom of God that He's teaching His boy. So as believers, we need to begin to take the wisdom that comes from God and make it a part of our lives. Proverbs 20, verse 9 through 16. Who can say, I have made my heart clean, I am pure from my sin? Diverse weights and diverse measures, they are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Even a child is known by his deeds, whether what he does is pure and right. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. Do not love sleep, lest you come to poverty. Open your eyes, and you will be satisfied with bread. It is good for nothing, cries the buyer. But when he has gone his way, then he boasts. There is gold and a multitude of rubies, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. Take the garment of one who is surety for a stranger, and hold it as a pledge when it is for a seductress. Did that catch it? Ba ihi shijay bigi atengo ashla. Atihni itzi shah shah aten. Aten go yan shte khaysha a khod doni ko yinel Bodni a besh ndas masi big echo da adit lehi binda atloi inda be idnil ahi be hai khahi binna atloi eight asha do yistinda aja atshine nte ayo lili ki bebe hozen binanish that's yat inda binanish that's it da ko Aja dat dit ai inda ana o ini et asha bohni abila do tiehi do te nete nte no net nte no shashigi beniya Bistado ne shakane Tenzid ako ba behui nilido na ishnihi anne na ishnihi anne ayo il inishe ayo ilini akopa na ine do bikije nlako yegako ye atahan nisha ola wano adon is atas dan lini o khayui ndebel da hozin go Yadash ti nada ishni ilini ndahanen ayone basazi dole nego nag sos beka bizis al ayilai Ishna beetso nde dichsos ado ishjishni ba akhodzi za go be nizjone be nahozne ani ki benache khwin thato be khwin thato. Who can say, verse 9, I have cleansed my heart? Kheshe khodedo nihti shjek den tol go shla do ba shin go shla kheshe khodedo ni jana itiki I am pure from my sin. De ba ge de yin beche de se at toli do be shikot ahago shikaz He's bringing up something that, as human beings, we can't even say that. To cleanse a heart, to make a heart pure, to cleanse the heart from sin, that's God's work. Go ekot ego inaznish. Nishik kodego ot ego kustad di nihi not dedi don khabohane zada. That's an impossibility for mankind to clean their heart, to make their heart pure, or to remove sin from their life. It's impossible. We're not capable. We're not able. Only God can do that. making it sound like they're the one, they're the source, they're the ones making it possible for them to live that way. It's impossible for man to live that way. That's his work, not ours. Who can say that? Verse 10, differing weights and differing measures. Both of them are abominable to the Lord. Differing weights. Whenever they sold items or they purchased certain things, they would bring out a scale. They paid in coins. They could manipulate the surface of it and not have the same material through and through. They would have just maybe another stone or something or clay, and then they would coat it to make it look like it was a coin. And the only way to get its true value and its true worth was to take a standard, place it on one scale, one half of the scale, and then this other item over here to see if it had the same weight as the standard. What he's talking about here is differing weights. People carried their standard. There's a standard for weight, for calibrating scales. There's a standard weight that's placed, and then you zero the scale, or you provide the right weight. It'll show the weight of this standard. But back then they didn't really have a standardized standard. What he's talking about, there would be people to cheat. They would make it look like it was a standard, and it would be lighter. To get away with selling less product, they would have a different weight standard, so that what they gave in sale would be less. When inflation takes off, if you pay attention, you'll find that the same product that you used to buy, it would be the same price or higher, but the manufacturers will put less product in it. Shrinkflation, isn't it? So things not only get more expensive, but you get less product. But that's what happens. He's addressing this. That's what he's saying. Don't cheat people out of the stuff that you sell. Don't cheat people. Don't be dishonest if you're selling by the weight. Don't be dishonest. Don't have dishonest scales, is what he's saying. And differing measures. They used to have a standard measure. like for measuring grain. And it was a certain volume. That was their measure. Measuring cup. To measure out how much you actually get. You can actually see it on that line. So whenever they sold, there was a measure, a certain measure that guaranteed a certain volume of material, the amount of material. It was standardized. But some people, because they're dishonest, they'll modify it slightly so it doesn't have as much volume when they sell it. So they make up more money out of that, a little bit less. Both of them are abominable to the Lord. That word abominable is a really strong word. It means detestable, loathsome. God doesn't like it when you're dishonest. That's what he's bringing out. Verse 11, it is by his deeds that a lad distinguishes himself. I don't know if you thought about it. If you're honest in your work, people notice. They see your conduct. They see your honesty. They see how your work ethic is. If you're honest in your work, people see it. People notice it. That's how young people can distinguish themselves. So this is instructions for his son, Solomon's son, and he's saying, if you're honest in your work and if you're diligent in your work, that's going to differentiate you from the others who just go through the motions. That just go through and just don't really do the work. They just show up. They're there. They hang out. They're not productive. So he's saying your work is going to show up. If his conduct is pure and right. Is it straight? Is it just? Is it upright? These are things that God teaches us. The things that you do, it should be pure, clean, and righteous. And it should be just and upright. They'll say that. They'll come out and say it. Call it like it is. Verse 12. The hearing ear and the seeing eye. The Lord has made both of them. Doa kwadet abe is the tsada. De kwadet jake de zo. Don nede the tsada. The in God ik holy Janila. And the seeing eye. To the eye in it ede. Jich set Lord a jaw eat or lehigi. The yin de or ha ik holy Janila. The Lord who has made both the seeing eye and the hearing ear. Jesus, a lot of times, would tell parables. And he would, in those parables, at the end of those parables, he would say, those who have ears, let them hear. It's in the unseen. They're very real in the unseen, but they're spiritual. See, that's what he says. God's the one that provides that. What ego is the tzado ejo ego chayik ahol lich dole. Comes from him. Verse 13, do not love sleep, or you will become poor. Do bich o nich aga go in sene. Or you will become poor. Open your eyes, and you will be satisfied with food. Verse 14. Bad, Nida, says the buyer. Na ich negi, when choy nesh ego, da zo en ya da la do ya schon da no ha si ya da na ho. Ha in nek as yo in Dia da zo en ya da la no ha si do gaan nie het op ik in die slecht dan zijn wat. Kon niet Janila. But when he goes his way, na do yin kede ai chon in lago, lego da di yago. Ye do hat niet Janila. Do illegal hij zegt nee, die je. Do illegal hij zegt nee. Nee, go je dan dat liegt Janila. Nee, goed dat. Human nature, that's how we are. Verse 15, there is gold and an abundance of jewels. Is the class A or you? Adol ola stochlo. O lam hodlo. Based on ihi dahodlo. O. But Anita, the lips of knowledge are a more precious thing. That word, the lips, it represents speech. Lips of knowledge, the speech of knowledge, or actually lesad, knowledge, translated from the Hebrew. It brings out the idea the knowledge that comes from God. The yin bitsade or oho ah. You know what that is? The Word of God. Chala the yin yilchides yolita. E the yin bitsade oho ah ko de nasa. The knowledge of God is right here. It's contained in the Gospel, the Word of God. The Old Testament and the New Testament. So the Behadiliya. Ako kheda eye yatkiko. Oh, the doshi ilita. Ola belako ilini. It's is the house a belah the ilini beyatkit the yin bitsade ehazin. H the Allah. See, that's God. Be. Behot za akone. Anehdi di benahji sa dole. Anehdi di bohji ah dole. Because in it there's value. There's beyond measure. The business. Verse 16. Take his garment when he becomes surety. You see, in the wisdom literature, Danil Ado Nadil Keh Jonich Nonan Hin or Tlanan Nini or Daisi Gladi. He says, don't go in debt. Don't make yourself surety. Chala ekot ego. Ba needin tkiniki e bilek enia jonhilniche. Ebenal tjetsen li jonhilne. Echocheda. Didigin bebehot za benabet nestande. Akot ende. Ekot ego an del tigo. Ich nisha. For a stranger, cheda do yehasini ya'an del tigo. And for foreigners, do Israel din edan leni. Hold him in pledge. Eda schonje night lago enda bede ditschke. Why does he say that? He's hoping that this man that was taught, don't go in debt, don't pledge yourself. Ado not the tje, but the nego na but the next time. You hold him to that task. You make sure he pays everything that he pledged. So he's hoping that people will learn. Right here. He says, you hold them to it. You make sure they pay every last penny that they promised that they were going to pay on behalf of a stranger. But some people take so he's saying, you hold them to task. You make sure they pay on the typical thing they would do was if eight sota kaishin yen dan tien eta on the yen then a what until that obligation is met. Called He says, you hold on to that and make sure they pay in full before you give that garment back to them. He wants us to live a certain way. He wants us to live lives that are approved by God. And he was wanting to make sure that the person that knew the lesson, don't put yourself on not the he wanted to make sure that they learn their lesson. Thank you for Thank you.